A very good morning to you and welcome to K24 this morning. Today is a Tuesday and we like talking about your money and your finances and everything that surrounds that particular situation. So today we're going to be talking about energy and power consumption, your fuel, your electricity, and how basically you handle that situation, how you manage, for instance, your power bill, how you manage your fuel, whether it's for commercial purposes, industrial purposes, or even for your own personal use. And joining me today, I have an amazing panel. One gentleman from Kenya Power and Lighting Company, Samson Ondeki, who is an economist, but most importantly, he is the personal assistant to the MD and CEO of KPLC. I also have with me Dr. John Mutua, the Deputy Director, Regulatory Research and Policy Analysis at EPRA, that is the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority. But before we get to them, let's check out our question of the day, just so that we can get you interacting as early as possible. What are some of the efficient ways you use on your energy and power consumption? There it is once again. What are some of the efficient ways you use on your energy and power consumption? Let us know your feedback via K24 TV on Facebook and Twitter, Instagram as well. Our SMS line is 21222. You can also find us on WhatsApp. Let's get that conversation going. Wale watu wangependa kupiga simu waseme kwa stima zimepotea. This is not the forum. I'm afraid the number to call for KPLC is 97771. Today we're just having a very candid discussion, so let's get the conversation going. So allow me to introduce my panel once again. Dr. John Mutua, how are you doing, sir?
I'm very well, sir.
Nice to see you again after a very long time.
Thank you.
The last time I saw you, it was during the end of year party of EPRA. No, when you were rebranding actually from ERC, that is the Energy Regulatory Commission, to now EPRA. But nice to see you. We'll be talking about your mandate as far as EPRA is concerned. And we also have Mr. Samson Ondeki. How are you doing, sir?
Thank you.
Venye nimekuona kwa picha, you look much younger in person. Ama ni zile sausage umepatiwa hapo nje kwetu. All right, but gentlemen, karibuni tena sana. Let me start with you, Dr. Mutua. In regards to EPRA, people just know EPRA as a body that tells us leo fuel ni 102, kesho fuel ni 97. But what, in a nutshell, is the mandate of EPRA?
Thank you, Paul. EPRA is the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority. And we exist to undertake technical and economic regulation for electricity, petroleum, and renewable energy in the country.
All right.
As you mentioned, we were formerly ERC.
Yes.
But now we have an expanded mandate to regulate upstream petroleum. And basically what we do to Mwananchi, maybe because when I use the economic and technical regulations, it looks a bit complicated.
Right.
But basically we exist to ensure that the products that are supplied for energy and petroleum are of good quality. Again, we look at issues of pricing to ensure that price that is charged on petroleum, on electricity, they are sustainable and affordable to citizens.
Right.
And again, also we ensure that the quality of the fuel that you put in your car is of high quality, and your car will not stall on the way when you are driving. And of course, looking at consumer protection, we have to protect consumers from inflated bills, from issues to do with unadulterated fuel. So basically, the mandate is expanded. I think if I was to talk about everything, but essentially we achieve this through licensing. We usually license the most responsive companies to supply these products, and we ensure that they comply with the regulations and laws that have been put in place in the country.
We'll be getting to the regulation part, especially there are some things you've mentioned there, such as adulterated fuel. I'm sure a lot of guys will be saying, hey, kuna siku nilienda mahali nikaekewa fuel mbaya. So we'll be talking about how they ensure that that is at a minimal. But Samson, I mean, for your company, it's pretty straightforward. You're the guys who make sure that electricity imefika kwa nyumba, right?
Correct.
Or is there much more that KPLC does?
Yeah, KPLC's mandate is to procure power from all our generators, the different sources of power, and then transmit that power, distribute that power, and then eventually retail it, and ensure that you have quality, reliable, power that then can be able to support your various activities, but either industrial or for domestic consumption.
For a very long time, KPLC, you know, from back in the day, people used to complain a lot. But nowadays, I can see that a lot has improved, especially when it comes to customer care. Yes. You have all these numbers that people can call. And actually, because I live in Syokimau, we even have now numbers that are localized to the particular area. How does it feel to finally feel that Kenyans are actually now appreciating some of these services that have improved over the years?
It's a great feeling, and given that we have come from far, we know that we are still not yet there where we want to be. There's still a lot that we need to ensure that our customers are happy, because we are more now focused on ensuring that our customer, you know, enjoy the various services that we are offering them. It's true we've been able to kind of devolve our functions and ensure that we are closer to the customers, more so the domestic customers, because when you are happy, we know that we are also happy because you're going to pay us eventually, because now you are receiving a service which you you can see that you know there's value addition in terms of what you're offering.
Right.
Yes.
I'll also be getting to the billing part, especially for people to understand. Because I don't know if it's a myth, I don't know how true it is, because some quarters say that ukinunua electricity, your tokens, especially if you're using the token system, if you buy tokens at the first day of the month, it's cheaper. If you're buying it mid-month, it's expensive. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay. But now that you've mentioned maneno ya renewable energy is such as, you know, solar energy and wind energy and geothermal energy. Kenya right now, which is the biggest energy we are consuming in regards to, you know, power? Is it the renewable one, the non-renewable one, or is it fossil fuels? Which one are you using the most?
Thank you, Paul. At the moment, Kenya is one of the leading countries when it comes to renewables in our generation mix. And we have actually been applauded as one of the countries that when it comes to sustainable goals, especially on energy, renewable and affordability, we are moving to that direction.
Is that global or just regional?
That is global.
Wow.
We are at the moment number 7 in geothermal. At the moment, geothermal power is taking about 47% of our energy requirements, followed by hydropower. That is the one that we use, water, mainly hydropower, to generate electricity. And then we have wind. Wind is the other new technology. We have the biggest wind farm in Africa, 310 megawatts.
Wait, is it the one I see at Ngong Hills?
No, that one is very small. Okay. The one at Ngong Hills is only 26 megawatts, but 310 is in Turkana. And of course, we are mentioning Ngong. There is another one that is coming, 100 megawatts from Kipeto, Kipeto Energy, that is coming up. It will be commissioned next year. So basically, what I could say is that initially, Kenya was seen as a country that was using fossil fuels, these hydrocarbons, but we realized because of global emissions, because we have signed a lot of Kyoto protocols, COP21, COP22, all these conventions that are gearing towards renewable energy. We have signed into them and we are very committed. So you'll find 93% of our energy requirements are actually coming from renewables during the day and night, and on a day like Sunday. On a Sunday when demand is very low, we are running the system 99% renewable energy.
What do you mean when the demand is low on a Sunday? But because I expect everyone is at home, watching TV, wakichoma nyama, maybe using an oven. Of course, fridge inatumika sana kufungua when someone is removing their soda or their beer. You want to tell me that on a Sunday is the least day that energy is consumed?
Yes, and the reason is industries. Most of the industries, you know, industries consume close to more than almost 70% of energy is industries.
Right.
And then consumers are taking about, the domestic consumers, about 26%. So what you find that during the weekends, the demand is lower, especially on a Sunday.
Right.
It comes to about maybe 28,000 megawatt hours.
Wow.
During the day, it will range between 33,000, 34,000 megawatt hours. Before COVID, during COVID, the demand went a bit lower by 15%, but we have seen the economy is recovering. So we're almost back to where we were in February.
Okay.
Yeah, but what I was saying is that the 99% running the system, it means we only switch on geothermal power plants, the hydro and the wind, and the solar. We have one of the biggest solar plants also within Sub-Saharan Africa.
So you want to tell me that these plants, like you've said, there are days they're actually switched off because system mingi inatumika?
Yeah, definitely. Like plants that use fuel stocks, like HFO,
Yes.
then thermal power plants, normally you always use them as peaking plants. So when the demand is low, because typically the way the load curve is, the way the consumption patterns is for electricity,
Right.
our demand is normally like highest from 5 p.m. You know, Kenyans wake up, they work until 5 and everybody goes home.
Yes.
So there is always a spike. And the highest demand that was recorded in February, around February 14th, 19th, was about 1,926 megawatts. That is the highest demand that was recorded this year.
Wow. Okay.
And what that means is that it was recorded about 8:30 p.m. And that is the time when most of the industries are still running because industries operate on 2 shifts.
Yes.
And also what happened is that around 8:30, people are watching news, people are watching these soaps.
So a lot of TVs are on.
Yes, it is true.
Okay.
All
Okay.
TVs are on, so the domestics are consuming, people are taking showers, they are cooking. Yeah, so basically that is all actually, that is the time where you use only the diesel plants.
Okay.
Otherwise, at night, most of them are switched off from 11 p.m.
Okay.
to 5 a.m. in the morning.
All right.
Because again, as a regulator, we have to ensure that only the costs that are prudent are going to be incurred in the bill.
Okay.
And that's why we have been able to push, initially the fuel cost element in the bill was 7 shillings 22. At the moment, we are 2 shillings and 43 cents.
Okay.
One of the lowest ever.
That's a drop in about 5 bob.
Exactly, yes.
Wow.
It's
Okay.
a 66% reduction.
And
in
that's
cost.
a very, very big reduction. In regards to, Ndiyek, let me ask you, in regards to the industries now that, because he has mentioned a lot of domestic use is happening at this time to this time, the biggest consumer during the week then, is it the heavy industries, the light industries, or domestic use?
He's rightly put it that our consumption is more so the industries. And some of them run 24 hours, like the cement manufacturing companies, the iron smelting companies, the other within the mining industry. They really consume a lot of power.
Yeah.
And in fact, they're the companies which sustain and ensure that most of even our revenue comes from those particular customers.
And I thought that the homesteads are the ones that are giving you the most energy. I mean, sorry, revenue.
They usually give us about 26%.
Wow.
Of the revenue comes from the domestic customers. Yet we have about 7.6 million customers. And we have about 300,000. We call them the large industries and small, medium industries.
Right.
About 300,000. So you can see about that number supports 70% of our revenue.
Okay.
Meaning the demand going into from those particular customers is huge. And that is why during COVID period, most of them, when they closed, our demand just went down.
So does that mean that Kenya Power was actually affected as a company in terms of revenue when COVID-19 hit us in March?
Definitely. It was a huge effect.
Yeah. Because you'd imagine everyone is working from home.
Everybody
the government
is working from
gave
home.
us a directive. If you don't need to go to work, weka nyumbani. So you can assume a lot of TVs were on, fridges were now on. People probably even bought new appliances during this period, and so on and so forth. So you'd expect a lot of people are using their heaters, especially during the cold season. But you're saying that your revenue went down.
The revenue is, the support base of our revenue is from the industrial consumers, not more from the domestic customers. Yes, domestic customer consumption went up slightly. Of course, because everybody was at home, students were online, you'd expect a bit of a spike there.
Right.
But there was a huge reduction from the other side, from our commercial customers.
Okay.
Yes.
In regards to the bill again, tokens, first of all, are majority of your customers now, especially the domestic ones, are they on the token system, or are they still using the postpaid system?
Postpaid system, we have about 2 million customers on the postpaid system, majority of them being the older, very old customers and the businesses, because you don't expect an industry to be putting in tokens
every year.
They are on what we call smart metering system.
Okay.
Then we have the SMEs. Most of them are still on postpaid, and then some of those very old homes, they are still on postpaid. About 5.5 million of our customers are on prepaid. Any new connection, especially during the last mile connection program that we are currently running, they're being done on prepaid connection.
Okay.
Yes.
And has it proven to be better than the old system in terms of even the way people manage their energy consumption?
Yes, it has its own advantages and disadvantages. One of the primary advantages is that the customer has control of how he wants to spend his, his resources in terms of, I want power today, then I buy it. If I don't need it, I don't buy it. But it also has some disadvantage with regards to KPLC as a company in terms of managing those meters. You know that we don't, most of the time we rarely visit those customers to check whether the meter is still intact, is it still working, has somebody bypassed the meter or not. So we've been finding over time that some of the customers, you know, the way this country is, go around the system and you know, connect themselves directly.
Oh, so people actually bypass
the meters.
Wow.
And so that is an offense in the current Energy Act. And we are telling the customers that electricity is not expensive. We'll come to that, and we will wish to explain how cheap electricity is compared to other utilities.
Well, I think we'll break down the bill, because when I buy my tokens, because I'm using the tokens, ninonanga vitu mingi hapa sielewi. So I think we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about that, yes.
Daktari, now that you're in charge of regulating the whole industry, including even the bodies such as KPLC, is it true that, first of all, we get energy from even outside the country? I think at one point I heard we are getting electricity even from Uganda.
Yeah, power imports from Uganda or export to Uganda is not like, it's a two-way. We export to them, they also we also import from them. So it's a two-way. And that is an energy exchange agreement that has existed from 1954.
1954.
Even before we became independent as a country.
Even before I was born. But
yeah. And normally we usually, Kenya Power, when it comes to dispatch, you know, in the country we use the economic merit order of dispatch. So first of all, you dispatch the least cost technology like hydros, the geothermals, renewables like the wind, you give them priority, and also solar. Now, when you find that you are not able to meet the demand requirements with under sometimes system challenges, especially in the western part of the country, where the transmission network is not very strong, of course, we as a regulator, we are working to ensure together with government, we are investing to ensure that there is transfer of geothermal power from Okaria to the western part of the country. We have some critical lines like Okaria Lesos line that is already undergoing construction. If that line is completed, then we will import less of electricity from Uganda, and it will also help us export also electricity to Uganda and beyond. We even have a power purchase agreement with Rwanda Energy Group to import power from Kenya.
Rwanda is a bit far from Kenya, because I think you have to get through Uganda before you get to Rwanda. Yeah,
we're interconnecting. There is a connection line. The Okaria Lesos goes to Uganda, Tororo, and then of course, on the other side there is Rwanda. So we are hoping that once these networks within the East African community and within what we call the East African Power Pool have been completed, we have a line running from Ethiopia again to Kenya, 500 DC line.
Wow.
It's almost complete. So we'll be getting 200 megawatts from Ethiopia. We can also send power to Ethiopia. So yes.
And this power we're getting from Ethiopia is what kind? Is it geothermal, hydro?
It's from hydropower.
Okay.
It's of hydropower, just like ours. Ethiopia has a lot of, you know, the Nile rivers, the Blue Niles. They have huge potential for hydropower.
Okay.
Like the Renaissance Dam is about 3,000 megawatts, one dam. So, but also we are also having a lot of geothermals. So the reason why, maybe to answer the question on importation of electricity, we usually import to supply mainly the western part of the country, because the system there is weak. If you have been to Kisumu,
western.
Yes, western. Okay. When I talk about western, I'm talking about Nakuru.
Okay, let me just hold you there, because we have a caller from Kirinyaga. Joshua, good morning.
Morning, Buvi.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm well, thank you.
All right, what is your question or comment?
Yes, now I think this is it's a topic that is very dear to many Kenyans.
All right.
And I want to talk to the gentleman from KPLC first.
Okay.
I know power is a basic utility, and it should be available in terms of infrastructure, the reliability and affordability.
Yes.
Why is it that energy or power in Kenya is so expensive? Yet, if you compare with the regional players like Tanzania, I've been in Tanzania and I know the rates for KPLC compared to the TANESCO ones.
Yeah.
Our ratings are too high. That is number one. Number two, he has said that we are leading in terms of alternative energy. This is the renewable energies in Africa.
Yeah.
Then if they have incorporated these alternative sources,
Yeah.
how comes they are not having any effect on our rates as a country? And then let me talk about the fuel issue.
Yeah.
Why is it that fuel in Uganda is cheaper than Kenya, yet Uganda fuel is usually transported through the Kenyan corridor?
Yeah.
And without probably being too much of a PR thing, I think that the energy regulator needs to come out clearly and tell Kenyans whether it is due to gross incompetence or corruption that makes power and energy in Kenya become so expensive.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Asante sana, Joshua. All right, we'll get to those ones in a minute, but you were explaining something in regards to we have another caller? Oh, we have WhatsApp? Okay, sorry. Let's check out WhatsApp again. Hello, Mbuvi. I'm glad to listen to the debate. I'm concerned with the loss the company is making. There is great theft of electricity and unserviced bill. For instance, I have neighbors who, for the last 1 year, have never paid for their tokens, and they have power. And it is not one; they are many. Okay. All right. Sawa sawa. Let's see. Okay, kuna ingine. Watu wa. Okay, who is this? All right. Kenya Power has proposed to EPRA to revise electricity costs upwards by at least 20%. What will this mean to the local Mwananchi? Even as Kenya Power says the intention is to cover costs wholesale electricity. Question to EPRA. Is the request by Kenya Power viable? Question to Kenya Power. Will this affect the cost of electricity for small-scale consumer? All right. We are going to cover that in the costing, and we'll see what goes into what, and especially the levies that are incorporated, so we can fully understand your bill, and then you'll understand what happens when EPRA does this and when KPLC does this as well. So, Dr. you were saying Western Kenya consumes a lot of low or high consumption.
I was talking about the system stability in the western part of the country,
right?
And that's why we have to interconnect with Uganda. When our system, when we can transfer all our geothermals to Western Kenya, then we can also import from Uganda.
Okay.
But of course, as we said, we are working to reinforce the system stability in the western region. If you go to Kisumu, you'll see Moroni, around Moroni, there is a gas turbine. It uses kerosene, which is expensive. And that's why we like importing power from Uganda to keep the system strong, and also to ensure that every Kenyan gets electricity.
Right.
Yeah, but the power from Uganda is not expensive. It is very affordable.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Samson, Joshua, the caller from Kirinyaga, is asking rather, why is our power more expensive than Uganda? So is there if we are having all these exchanges, you know, why are they getting cheaper power yet we are getting expensive power?
Thank you, and thank you for the question. I think this is something that we've seen a lot. Everybody keeps on saying Kenya is power within Kenya is very expensive compared to Ethiopia, Uganda, Tanzania, within the East African community. But one of the things that we must understand is that each country has a different tariff policy. Some of the countries have a subsidy inbuilt into their tariff policies, which makes then the government subsidizes the cost of power, which makes them cheaper. Like Ethiopia, cheap power there is majorly due to the government subsidy program through the generation. When you subsidize power at the generation source, then towards the value chain, it becomes cheaper.
Yes. Okay.
Again, if you look at Uganda compared to Kenya, we are relatively the same in terms of pricing. Uganda cost of power is about 18 shillings per kilowatt hour. Kenya is depending on, again, the band under which you are in. It can vary between 15 and 22 for the domestic consumption. So on average, we are just 18 like what they are offering.
Okay.
And of course, as we are running what we call a cost-reflective tariff, which Dr. Mutua can explain what that means in terms of the tariff that we are incorporating encompasses all the costs necessary, prudently incurred, what EPRA had mentioned, into the tariff, so that then we pay for the costs of generating, transmitting, and distributing, and even retailing that power, which could be different within one country. Another country, if you go to Egypt, they are also offering a subsidy. The government is putting in money, so it is kinds of subsidizing. And the other question is, of course, he has explained about the generation mix. We are running heavily on renewable energies. And is asked what is the effect of running renewable energies on our total tariff.
Yes.
It's a huge effect. I'll give an example. If today we removed the wind, which is talked about, from our system, we will have to run thermal. And when we run thermal, it has an effect on their bill in terms of the fuel cost charge.
To produce that thermal
If
energy.
we remove the 300 megawatts that we are currently, it's given a priority because it's a renewable, we will run 15%, between 12 to 15% of thermal into the system. And that has a cost element when it comes to the fuel cost charge.
What we'll do, we'll take a short break right now. Then when we return, of course, keep on sending your questions or comments via our WhatsApp line. We shall definitely interact with you on that one. And we shall look at your power bill just to understand, ukinunua tokens za 200, mbona stima yako inakuja X amount. Do not go too far.